Go. Dominic, please. Hello.
Hello. I'd like to thank you all for your time here today, at least, with everything. I know it's a busy time for the annual plan. I'm surprised seeing a 7% rates increase, which upon years of rates increases. I listened to a recent council meeting, and only one of you councillors actually said, we're in a cost of living here, so why are we going to force more burden on ratepayers and people who potentially are already struggling, or the rest of the city? It seems like the fiscal responsibility is not being managed appropriately, and things could be better done. I take it some of you are probably looking at the picture, and I will get to that, because that is something I find very frustrating and still ongoing issues with that cycleway layout. With regards to cycleways, some of them are pretty good. In actual fact, the east is the only one that doesn't have a dedicated, separated layout. This is Worcester Street, just near Stanmore Road, between England and Fitzgerald Ave. This is getting built up with townhouses, and it's your most direct route to the CBD from the east, and with the future stadium. Yet, we've got glorified speed humps, for lack of a better word, being used as cycleway. That van parked there clearly shows it's very hard to get around it. Would you think it's safe for little kids to get around it? Your nephews, nieces, any children or grandchildren? This is an issue that I've constantly battled with since post-construction, and yet there's been no action to address it. Or I've heard from council's end, blame the resident. It's a resident's fault. It's a user's fault. It's designer's fault, fundamentally. This design is not practical. Case in point, I recently messaged my local councillor, Councillor McKeown, when a contractor parked their digger blocking one of these build-outs. If a contractor does it, and it's easy enough to do, as you see in the picture, when is something going to be done to address it? You've had the Harewood Wheels to Wings route bounced around how many times, and nothing's actually built so far, yet there's nothing in the capital works budget to address the problems like these. Logically, the issues with this layout never existed prior, so it's not a resident's fault, it's not a user's fault. Clearly it is the layout that's fault, and designers failed in their jobs and their due diligence to provide a safe, suitable layout as part of their reviews and safety and design processes. It's a real shame. I've actually nearly been collected by a bin truck once. It's scary. And put yourself in those shoes. My shoes on that situation, because it's terrifying. But yet you see the likes of Papanui Parallel, South Expressway along Elizabeth Street and Riccarton, that's separated. Yet there's nothing like this actually to the east directly. Yeah.
Okay. Jake, please.
Thank you. It might be good if in the recorded actions from the hearings we ask for a bit of advice about the long-term future, because I accept the fact that the design is not ideal, but this is a consequence, this is to my colleagues, this is a consequence of what you get when you want to do cheap and cheerful cycleways. This is some of the behaviour you get. I'm sure you too would accept that this is bad parking behaviour, perhaps elicited through poor design, but there's a little bit of fault on both sides. But we'll get some advice and see if we can't look at the long-term future of this stretch, because it isn't ideal for anyone.
With that, when you report to council parking, they have to physically be there on site to see it. So how good is that if you report it in every time?
And it's bad behaviour, but the design is encouraging bad behaviour. I acknowledge that.
We've got no time, but Mel is the last question. No, so we've got one left, and Celeste had her hand up next.
Thank you for coming in. And your comment about the lack of cycleways over in the eastern suburbs, I completely agree. In terms of, where you think some improvements could be made in terms of the actual design and things like that, do you have any specific comments about, obviously that's driver behaviour, but ways we could improve them?
Oh, I'd love to assist on that, actually. The Fitzgerald Ave to England Street section is a long straight section, and it begs belief as to why it wasn't separated. Costs aside, it makes common sense and logical too, especially when you look at other sections and other routes.
And you would have support increased investment on cycleways out to the east, bearing in mind there isn't anything really there currently.
Well, for that section at least, it's the most direct link from the east, from Linwood to the central city,
Right.
and with the
you.
future multi-purpose stadium.
Thank you, Dominic. Thanks very much for coming in on a Saturday morning. Good on you, mate. Andrea, please.
Kia ora, I'll try to